Hello again, everybody, and this reflection is for Monday of the third week of Lent. Today's scripture readings are from the second book of Kings, chapter 5, verses 1 to 15, and the gospel reading is from Luke chapter 4, verses 24 to 32. Now, both of these readings narrate some rather significant moments in the history of Israel and in the life of Jesus, but I'm going to put those events at the background and use them as props to talk about a very important emotion in our lives, that of anger. So in the first story, you have Naaman, who was an army commander in the Aramean kingdom, and the Arameans and Israelites were enemies. In fact, in one of the raids into the Israelite territory, a little Israeli girl was taken as a captive, and she ended up becoming a maid to Naaman's wife. Now, Naaman was struck with leprosy. And so when the little girl hears this, she tells her mistress, I wish Naaman would go and see the prophet in my country. And so Naaman agrees, but he needs a letter of reference from the Aramean king to take to the king of Israel. And he does with a lot of gifts. He does reach there, but when he reaches there, the Israeli king is really angry. He thinks it's an act of insult. He rends his garment. But Elisha the prophet hears about it, and he goes and reasons with the king not to be so angry, but let the Arameans know that there is a prophet in the land. So now Naaman goes to Elisha, and Elisha simply gives them this command: go to the river and dip yourself seven times. And now Naaman is angry. He said, are you insulting me? Are there not rivers in my own country that I could do this? But then, this time, it was Naaman's servants who reasoned with Naaman, right? And so Naaman goes and does what the prophet Elisha tells him, and he is healed. That brings us to the gospel reading. Jesus comes to Nazareth, his own hometown, and he's preaching. And he finds resistance there. And he says some words that the people of the town do not like. And the words are, a prophet is not accepted in his own hometown. And once again, people get furious. They actually wanted to take Jesus up the brow of a hill and throw him down. That's how angry they got. But Jesus was the reasonable man over here. He quietly slips out of their midst. Now, he could have, as Son of God, done great harm and damage, but he was the reasonable one. So here's the deal. Anger. We have angry people in the first reading, and we have reasonable people in the first reading. We have angry people in the gospel reading, and we have reasonable person in the gospel reading. Anger, it's an emotion. It's a God-given emotion. There are times you must be angry. So for example, if you see a child being abused and you don't say anything, and if it doesn't make you angry, then we have a problem. But a lot of our anger stems from our own selfishness, of our own ego, of our needs not being met, of things not going the way we want it to go. And that is the kind of anger that we have to watch against. How many times in road rage or in gun violence or even in our attitude to other people at our work, we act out of anger. And so the question that we ask ourselves today is, what does anger do to us? And when anger is our response, are we a reasonable people? Because the holy people of God, in the scriptures, the little girl who was a maid, Elisha the prophet, Naaman's servants, and Jesus were all reasonable people. Even in the midst of the possibility of great anger, they acted reasonably. That's our example. During Lent, may we learn how to deal with anger and rather act reasonably. Take care. God bless you.